Let's welcome back to Master Guitar. Let's get into some blasting today. So, if you haven't seen the video on how to play the pentatonic scale, this would be the time to do it. Because today we're going to talk about how to build a solo out of it. Okay, so first let's talk about our bends. We'll talk about our bends first, and I'll do a separate video where I tell you how to build a scale, or build the solo. I talk faster than I think sometimes. So you basically have a couple of different kinds of bends. You have double stops. Double stops are basically you're playing, for the most part, across the third and second string. Now you can play double stops also on the first and second string, but the shape is much different. So the double stop bend is usually about a half step. The concept, when we talked about this in the pentatonic one a little bit, is when you're doing your bends, you're bending to a pitch and back. If you bend it out of pitch, it sounds terrible. A quarter tone bend, no. Now, if you want to bend it to half step, that's fine. Whole step. Perfect. All right, so let's talk about the sequence again. Double stop, bending it about a half step. Now you hear that, that's the double stop. And then of course we've got, after that, we've got the unison bend. Now again, you have to bend to pitch. Sounds terrible. Sounds great. One of the things that takes a little bit of adjusting is when you got a guitar that's got a Floyd Rose. When it came to the whammy bar war, I think I liked the Kahlers a little better. I was iffy about the Kahlers. The low price Kahlers were terrible. The higher price Kahlers were wonderful. But Kahler obviously lost the whammy bar war because now it's all the Floyd Rose. And it's very hard to find the real Floyd Rose. Now you can find is the inexpensive Floyd Rose. And you know, it's because a music store is not going to want to carry the $130 vibrato system when they can just as easily carry the $49 one that more guitar players are going to buy, because guitar players are notoriously cheap. But when you're playing your bends on a guitar that's got a Floyd Rose, you're going to notice that there's an irregularity out of the bridge when you try to do a bend on it. Is that sometimes you end up having to give it a little bit more grit just because this is going to shift in pitch to try to compensate for what it perceives as a sudden increase. As you hear, as I'm holding, so that's you're going to bend to unison, which is usually about a whole step bend. Now we got the simultaneous bend. This is where you're holding one note and bending the other note to make a chord or to make an interval with that. All right, so when we break into our Elmore James, so we just went into our double stops there. Then from there we went to unison bends. So that's your, kind of a typical Chicago blues kind of thing. Now that was involved in a unison bend. Now the rules for what you're doing on the fretboard is I used to like to tell my students, go up, down, all around. Up, down. What goes up must come down. And then up, down, all around. Now that sequence comes from taking your Elmore James, and now what you're doing is you're taking your Elmore James and your So what am I doing there? I'm going to bend this one. So this is the 7th fret on the 3rd string, 5th fret on the 2nd string, 5th fret on the 1st string. It's all in A pentatonic, by the way. Then 8th fret on the 2nd string to 5th fret. This is a Fender heavy pick, by the way. It is really floppity. I kind of like Fender heavies. I like the way they feel, but I don't like the fact that they're really not that heavy. Fender extra heavies to me are a heavy. Okay, so now when we get the now we're starting to get to the up, down, all around is where we that's just a repetition of this sequence. Then you get this stutter step of 7, 5, 7, then 5 on the 3rd string to 7 on the 4th string. So I'm giving a little bit of a bend there. Half step bend. Okay, I went up, down. So that's the, let's see, we're 17, 20. That's 22, 20. Yeah, 20. 17 to 20. 17, it's 20, 17, 20, 17. Gonna unison bend on the 20. You see how many variations I can get just off a couple notes. And I mentioned once that, and this is going to be your challenge for this week, one of my guitar teachers insisted that all I had was in A. For a metal guitar, this thing's got an awful lot of tone. This is actually one of my better sounding clean guitars also. So your challenge this week is going to be, of course, play with the bends and stuff, but then what I want you to work on, you got to spend at least 5 minutes a day on this. 9th fret on the 3rd string, 8th fret on the 2nd, 10th on the 2nd, 8th on the 1st, 10th on the 1st. All right, there's your assignment. Make sure you do that. It's got to be at least 5 minutes a day. I want you to spend 15 minutes a day working on your bends and going up, down, all around and trying to see how you can work that in. You won't understand it till you do it. So do it and understand it. Make sure you work in this little sequence there. No, it's not the major pentatonic. The pentatonic by definition is 1 flat 3 5, which makes it a minor scale. Okay. There you go. Comment, like, subscribe. Be sure to tell me what kind of stuff you want to see over this next year and how I can better serve you, what kind of stuff you need to work on. All right, we'll see you. Bye.